Other stuff that we have that's really cool is now the audio control panel. The mixer hasn't changed, but more specifically the playback and recording devices pane. This has changed a little bit. By default, first of all, they actually show disabled devices, so that'll be a little less confusing for some people. You can also set different defaults now. There's the default audio playback device and the default communications device, which is made for using voice calls. My guess is that they're tying that into Windows Messenger, which is where these options come from. I tried it with Skype earlier, didn't really seem to work. So maybe there will be a software development kit or something like that that allows third-party developers to make use of this functionality. I'm guessing there will be, but I haven't been able to test this functionality yet. One big change, and it's been a big issue for me anyways, is you can actually now switch your default audio device, and if you're playing an audio track on one device, you don't need to close your application and open it up again to get the sound to switch devices. It'll switch on the fly for you. So that's a really great change. So if I was playing music on this device and I want to now play music on this device instead, I can just click on the set default button and while the track's playing, and it'll switch instantly, which is very cool. It's been a big issue for me because when you're using different, it's inconvenient really, especially if you have a game and you want to switch. You're playing a game and you want to switch from your speakers to a USB headset, for example. Before you needed to actually close the game and then change the device and then open up the game again. Now you don't need to do that. It'll switch automatically, and it actually has worked very well for me anyways. I mean, it might not work in all cases, but I haven't had any problems with that. Windows Media Player has actually been updated to version 12 now. It's not vastly different than it was before. Media Player, I mean, the look and feel has changed a little bit, but we still have the same basic stuff. I can play tracks, of course. They've actually, unfortunately, replaced the Windows Media Player toolbar, which is now completely gone. I don't know if that's going to be the same on the RTM version, but it's gone, and that sort of annoyed me. They replaced it with this box, which works okay. I mean, they've got the basic playback controls, but I quite liked my toolbar anyways. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but it seemed to work fine, so I don't know why they changed that. Other things to note, I don't know if we have any videos on here right now. Yeah, we have the default video. They've cleaned up the interface a lot, so I mean, as you can see, it's just a lot cleaner. If I maximize this now by double clicking on that, you can see that it's just a lot cleaner. If I go full screen, you can see it's just, they've cleaned it up. It's as simple as that. So let's close Media Player. So I mean, it hasn't changed vastly, but there's some cool stuff in there in Media Player 12. Also, they've added a new devices and printers menu. It's under Start, Devices and Printers. This allows you to manage all your devices. I haven't really seen this be extremely useful yet. I don't know what it's really for, since they can't really pull much information out of these. Maybe future hardware will help you, but it does put all your plug-and-play devices in one easy-to-see menu, which means that you don't have to go through the device manager anymore to find your plug-and-play devices. They're all right here. So that might make things a little bit easier for users, because the device manager isn't the most user-friendly interface in the world, but we'll see. Other things that are interesting that I've noticed right away as well is screen resolution changes are now very easy. You can see I actually have a dual screen system here. My notes are on this one right here. That's what this is. Just so you know. Here I actually have two LCDs, two Samsung LCDs, and they've really cleaned this up a lot. This looks a lot better than it used to. The biggest change for me, of course, has been that you can actually change the orientation within here, and you can actually so you can rotate your displays through the Windows interface, and you can even change the way that it spans two screens. So you can choose whether you want to extend onto another display, what you have a lot more functionality. You can duplicate them now, and this is all built into the Windows thing. Of course, most of the advanced menus haven't changed at all. They look familiar and run all the way back to, I think, Windows 95. So not much changes there, but this is really, really cool. Oh, and another cool thing, we've also got now a ribbon interface for Paint. That's cool. Paint has changed for the first time. This time I'm sure it's at least Windows 95, no questions asked. We've got a new interface here. Now, unfortunately, the brushes tend to look really horrible, in my opinion. Um, it just does not look like something like Photoshop. It's not going to be able to replace anything like that. But we do have a new ribbon interface and a few more features in Paint. So you guys can play with it in the future. Kids love Paint. It's a new interface. It's not the classic interface, and I don't know. I don't like Paint. I never really have, but there we go. We've also got, as I said, a new interface for WordPad, which is wonderful because it actually looks a little like Word. This isn't Word itself. I don't even have Office installed at the moment. But the WordPad interface has changed quite a bit. It should make it a lot more usable for most people. WordPad, I don't know if you can open doc. Yeah, I don't know what files they support. Most major files they support docx, and I think they did before. So you're never going to be left with a system that's unable to read a Word document, because WordPad supports all that, and you've got a really nice interface for it now. So that's great. And we also have a new calc, which is brilliant because the old calc was really old. Now, as you can see, there's lots of different setups. There's scientific, the programmer interface, which gives you all the, I mean, we had most of these features before, but they've added a few new ones. I mean, you can move between hex, decimal, octal, binary, and convert, and whatever. Statistics view. So this is a lot more powerful than it was before. You can change. There's a lot of options, but basically what you need to know: calculator's new, it's better, and it's coming with Windows 7. Okay, now let's move more on to the business and management aspects of maybe a little bit more of the enterprise features, the lower level stuff that users won't necessarily see right away, but are here. The control panel hasn't really changed. It's very similar to how it was before. They have, of course, the two views, which is the categories view, which I always have hated. Of course, large icons and small icons. In terms of managing the control panel, there aren't really that many new options here. It's pretty much the same as it's always been. I mean, you've got your recovery options. I mean, they might have moved a couple of things around, but nothing's particularly new. It's basically just a way of bringing up a lot of management features, kind of like it was before. So the control panel, not much has changed there. Now, networking, which is there's a lot of cool stuff in the Network and Sharing Center now. They've completely, well, not completely, but largely redone Network and Sharing Center. It supports pretty much the same stuff as it did before, but they've moved some things around. Of course, you've got the advanced settings here, which they've added more functionality. I don't particularly like this. There's too much text. I don't even really want to read it. They have new features here. I don't really know what they are because I haven't read all of this. They used to have nice, simple buttons with little explanations at the side, but this looks like it's too complicated for me. I don't know. I don't like it. But basically, not much has changed. They have encryption to help protect file sharing connections. I'm pretty sure that's to do with home groups, which is our next thing we're going to talk about. Home groups actually replace work groups. If you're familiar with Active Directory and stuff, it's kind of like having a mini peer-to-peer domain going. It doesn't really give you any super great management features, but a home group could be used to set up a small office network, maybe, if you don't have a server. And you can do cool things with that. It allows you to basically password protect your file sharing. It allows users to, it gives you more granularity in how you control access to your documents and stuff. Similar in the way that Active Directory does it. You can define user permissions. It's very basic compared to Active Directory, but you should know home groups will provide a little bit more security to Windows 7 in terms of file sharing for small networks. So yeah, I mean, the Network and Sharing Center, it hasn't changed vastly. Networking is very similar. They support the same protocols. IPv6 was the big news in Vista. Not much has changed since. Of course, I'm already connected to the internet. I mean, setting up a VPN, for example, it's all pretty much the same. You won't see any massive changes here. It's all the same sort of interface. So yeah, that's the Network and Sharing Center. Of course, they still have the mapping functionality. I'm on a domain and I've disabled that. So anyways, yeah, that's Network and Sharing Center.